And we return again. Hello, Patreon backers. This is the third video of me making videos, which are going to be edited down considerably for Twitter. But I figured I will just, make the whole video available to you folks. Thank you all so much for backing and supporting me and my work all these months and all these years. And yeah, let's get started. Hey everybody, it's Satyr, and I am once again taking your non-rules questions about Mage. How did the Mage Tarot come about? Good question. So right when I got the job, which was 30 years ago this August, Rich Thomas, who at that point was the art director for White Wolf and is now the head of Onyx Path Publishing, Rich said, "So I just want to check in with you. We're going to do a Mage Tarot, right?" And I'm like, "Yes, I think that's an excellent idea." And he's like, "Yes!" Rich and Stuart, the original creator of Mage, and Travis Williams, who is the creator of, or the co-creator of Mage's Sphere system, and also the model for Dante, who is the character on the tarot card of all editions of Mage. They said, we would love to do a Mage Tarot eventually. So, but they did leave that question up to me. Did I want to do it? Yes, I fucking wanted to do it. So we did. It took a few years to put all the pieces together for it, and we had to make sure first that Mage was going to sell, which it did. And then Rich hired the various different artists, one artist for each of the 5 suits. And in the meantime, I contracted my friends and collaborators Nikki Ray and Jackie Cassada, who have a metaphysical background, to do the design, to write the book. And so, meanwhile, I hired my friend. This is what edits exist for. So, meanwhile, I hired my friends and collaborators Nikki Ray and Jackie Cassada, who worked also. So, meanwhile, I hired my friends and collaborators Nikki Ray and Jackie Cassada, who also worked on a lot of Mage material, to do the design and the book for it. We brainstormed up the various different meanwhile, I hired Nikki Ray and Jackie Cassada, my longtime friends and collaborators, who had also done a lot of other work on Mage and were metaphysically inclined. And we brainstormed up the ways in which the different suites would... God damn it. Ah! This is what happens when you stick a microphone and a camera in my face and don't ask me questions, when I have to ask the questions myself. So, meanwhile, I hired my friends and longtime collaborators Nikki Ray and Jackie Cassada, who had also worked on a great deal of Mage material and who were also metaphysically inclined. And we brainstormed up the ways in which the various different suits corresponded to different elements of Mage, and ways in which the symbols on the cards could also be used as a gameplay aid. The process itself was... as the art came in, Larry Snelly and Elaine Miles did hand coloring on the art, which was originally... the art was originally commissioned in black and white. Larry Snelly and Elaine Miles colored the... Shaggy Dixon did too. The art was originally commissioned in black and white. Aileen Miles, Larry Snelly, and I believe Shaggy Dixon hand-colored the art on computer, obviously, and then the various cards, it was all laid out and everything. The process took quite a while. And Kathleen Ryan, I believe, who's also one of the major Mage designers and artists. God damn it. Meanwhile, Kathleen Ryan, who was a major Mage Meanwhile, Kathleen Ryan, who is also a significant Mage author, one of the co-creators and one of my favorite collaborators, did the layout for the book and the cards. The entire process took quite a few months, and we really, really love and I really should have a copy of it in my hand. I should take it out because lots of people are not going to get a chance to see it. So I'm going to reach back here and come back with it. I understand it goes for quite a bit. While I'm checking this, I can make sure that my memory of who did what is correct. Pretty sure that Cynthia, artist design. Yes. Okay. Let's wait till this fucking plane finishes going overhead. What am I waiting for? That's right, it's recording. Sorry about that. So once we decided that we were going to do it, Rich contracted the various different artists to do it. It was Josh Timbrook, who is our in-house artist and also one of the significant graphic. So once we got started, Rich contracted the various different artists connected with it. There's Josh Timbrook, who is also one of the significant visual collaborators in the World of Darkness as a whole, did the Greater Arcana. And we had Dan Smith, who was a Mage artist who also was doing a lot of work at that time with Steve Jackson Games. He did the suit of Primordial, rather the suit of Dynamism. No, he did not, actually. There was Dan Smith, who is an artist for... There's Dan Smith, who is an artist for Steve Jackson Games, also did some Mage work. He did the suit of Pattern, which was the Technocracy. There was John Cobb, my personal favorite, who did the suit of Primordialism, the fucked up Navandi cards. There's Alex Sheikman, who is also one of my favorite Mage artists. He did the suit of Dynamism. And Larry McDougall did probably the best designs of the lot for the suit of no, he did the suit of Dynamism. I'm fucking wrong. Anyway. Alex Sheikman, one of my favorite Mage artists, did the suit of Balance, who are the traditions. The suit of Questing. I'm wrong. Alex Sheikman, who's one of my favorite Mage artists, did the suit of Questing. Larry McDougall, in probably Larry McDougall, in probably my favorite of the lot, did the suit of Primordialism. No, he didn't. He did the suit of Dynamism. Larry McDougall, who did probably my favorite art of the lot, did the suit of Dynamism, which were the Marauder cards, which were just fucking awesome. Oh my god. And then John Cobb, one of my favorite Mage artists, one of my favorite World of Darkness artists, did the suit of Primordialism, the fucked up Nefandi shit, which was really cool and made for great cards. Kathleen Ryan, who is one of the major Mage collaborators, writer, author, game designer, and for a while anyway, my roommate, Kathy did the actual layout and graphic design of the cards with some help from Matt Milberger and Larry Snelly. And the process took a while, but when the end result was fucking awesome. Beautiful, beautiful work here. Really high quality cardstock on the first printing. It came out in this little box here, which this one's really beat up because it's old. And the packaging on this, obviously is mortal. But the packaging on it proved to be so expensive that later editions went in just a regular box with a little book and just little cards and a weaker card stock, which is a shame. But the deck itself was really, really highly acclaimed and won a RPGA award, Origins Award for the game. It's rather. The deck itself was highly acclaimed, sold like crazy, and won a Gamma Award for Best RPG Supplement of 1995. I said we did do later editions of the Tarot, but they're not quite as. The deck sold very, very well, was highly acclaimed, and won the Gamma Award for Best RPG The deck was... I can do more stuff with this. Maybe not upside down. The deck was highly acclaimed. I'll probably just like put in some... But the deck was highly acclaimed and sold like crazy and won a Gamma Award for Best Role-Playing Game Supplement in 1995. There was a later edition of the Tarot, which was priced significantly, but there was a later edition of the Tarot, which was packaged very differently because of the production costs on that were enormous. But in any case, it is a wonderful example of just what we could do when we were firing on all cylinders back in the day. And I said this is originally Rich Thomas's idea and one of my favorite Mage products ever. So yeah, thank you. If you've got any other non-rule, you'd think I've asked this question so many times by now. So yeah, if you've got any other non-rule questions, leave it in the comments below. Thank you, and thanks for celebrating 30 years of Mage. Okay, let's ask some other questions now that aren't quite so complicated. Hey everybody, Satyr here, and we're answering more questions about 30 years of Mage. In Mage's cosmology, which is really fucking elaborate, do you have a personal canon? Kinda, but it's complicated. Like Mage's cosmology in general. So my personal canon for what has happened in terms of the history, you can more or less see that in the Mage history, the Awakened history given in Mage 20th Anniversary, which I wrote for Chapter 5. There are no good guys and just one particular real bad guys. In ways, in Mage, everybody is a good guy. No, it's not true. In Mage, there are no good guys, and there are a whole lot of bad guys, and some are just, more good or bad than others. In terms of how do I think the universe works, so that voice in terms of the way the universe works, well, that narrator in chapters 3 and 4 of Mage 20th Anniversary who's giving that guided tour of the universe, yeah, that's basically me. So yeah, if you have any other non-Mage questions, if you have any other non-rules questions, drop them in the comments below, and I'll be answering more questions throughout the month of August where we're celebrating 30 years of Mage. Thanks everybody, see you later, take care. Hey everybody, hey everybody, Satyr here, and I'm answering more questions for 30 years of Mage. So, are there ideas you've had for groups that you never developed further? Yeah, there were a lot of them actually. Um, to keep this brief, yeah, there are a lot of them. To keep this brief, there were several groups. Yeah, I could make a huge video on that, and we're kind of yeah, I could make a yeah, I could make a huge video about that. But to keep things short, in Mage 20, it mentions a couple of groups there. Or stop thinking so fucking much and just do it, dude. Yeah, so in Mage 20, there are several groups mentioned that I really would have liked to expand. Look, so in Mage 20, there are a number of groups mentioned that I would have liked to have expanded on eventually. They're the Miranomen, which created with Hiromikota, which are a shape-changing, identity-changing group that really seemed like they would have been a whole lot of fun for us to play with. I could have done a whole book on that if things had gone differently. There was the Thunder Society, which James Sombrano and I brainstormed up while I was working on Mage 20. Navalon, which had been a personal favorite of mine since I first introduced them as the Knights of New Avalon back in Guide to the Technocracy in 1998-99, and wrote more about in the forthcoming book Forbidden and Forgotten Orders. The Red Thorn Dedicants, which I had created based on my work with Rochelle Udall in the Revelations of the Dark Mother. I had some ideas for that and didn't go any further with them. And I had initially pitched a complete reorg of the Technocracy. The holders of the IP would not let us do that, and for very understandable reasons. And I thought about and started to do a section of that one for Technocracy Reloaded. There would have been a chapter featuring a reorg. However, for a variety of reasons, I decided not to do that. One of the biggest ones being I am personally tired of creating neat stuff for other people to own when I don't even get royalties for it. And if that sounds bitter, well, we're in the same situation as the folks who helped create the Marvel Universe and the DC Universe. All of these things are created work for hire, and we do not get royalties for those. So I decided to keep those ideas for myself instead. We had ideas for future groups and just decided not to run with those eventually. But you can, because the elements are there. Just run with them in the directions that you'd like to see. So thanks, everybody. If you have a non-rules question about Mage, please drop it in the comments below, and I'll see you later. Take care, everyone, and thanks for celebrating 30 years of Mage. Okay. Hey everybody, Satyr here, and I'm answering your questions about 30 years of Mage. Is there a group that you regret creating? Oh, fuck yes. I didn't actually create them. They were created by another. Oh, fuck yes. I didn't actually create them. They were created by another author, and I will just leave him nameless so he doesn't get hit on. So I didn't create them. Actually, they're created by another author. I'm going to leave him nameless so that he doesn't get massive hate on social media for doing it. But it was a group in the Book of Crafts, which I mentioned earlier is one of the books that is one of my least favorite books for Mage. In part because of this group. It seemed like a good idea at the time. It's a group of Asian shapeshifters who were cursed by a demon, and if that seems like a really bad, problematic idea, that's because it fucking was. And it was a perfect example of the sort of thing that happens when you have a bunch of people who think that we're a lot more clever than maybe we are, maybe a bit more enlightened than we are, and we're creating vast amounts of content on short deadlines with very little forethought. That was a bad idea. I have basically retconned them in Mage 20, and I wish we'd never created them. So if you have a non-rules question, please drop it in the comment below, and hopefully I will get to it during our 30 years of Mage celebration this August. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Have a good one. Later. And we have more. And for that one, I'm going to change my shirt offline, or rather off this, so you don't have to get. But I'm just changing shirts in between because I'm recording a whole bunch of these, and I don't want it to all, be the same thing. But I'll be right back. The fool's journey, because I'm a fool. Anyway. Hey everybody, Satyr here. We're back answering questions for 30 years of Mage. There we go. I was looking at the wrong side of the card. Hey everybody, this is Satyr, and we're back answering questions for... Hey everybody, it's Satyr. We're back answering your questions about 30 years of Mage. Do you think Mage is still relevant? Oh, fuck yes! If anything, a game about reality wars is more relevant now than ever. It's funny, because originally... it's funny, when I first started working on the Mage 20 line back in 2012, I wanted, It's funny, when we first started working on Mage 20 back in 2012, Rich and I agreed that we wanted, rather than a nostalgia product, we wanted Mage to be brought up into the 21st century. And part of that involved realizing how much our concept of what is and is not real has changed, thanks in part to the internet and thanks in part to people who are fucking with it. So I decided to make that a major theme in Mage 20. It became especially obvious in books like Technocracy Reloaded, The Book of the Fallen, and Fallen Companions, the idea that we are in real life in the middle of a reality war, and some of those people have agendas that are very, very poisonous. And that idea, more to the point, that there is not one unified belief that everybody has, which, to be honest, has always been true. There is no time in human history when everybody believed the same thing. But it's even less true in some regards now. Not so much that we... how to phrase that? So it's always been true. So it's never been true. In the course of human history, it has never been true that all people believe the same thing. That's never been true. And that was actually a kind of a flaw in the original idea of Mage. But these days, we are very, very well aware of how many different ideas of truth and reality we all have in this world. And I've made that a significant element of the Mage 20 line. And yes, so I think it's fucking relevant today. So... thank you. If you have any further non-rules questions, drop it in the comments below. Thank you. And I'll be answering those over the course of August while we celebrate 30 years of Mage. Thanks, everybody. Take care. See you later. Hey, everybody. Satyr here, and I'm answering more fan questions as we celebrate 30 years of Mage. What are your top 3 moments when you looked at the real world and looked at Mage and said, oh shit, this is too real? 2016? Actually, even more than that particularly infamous presidential election, I think the biggest oh shit moment came with the pandemic in 2019, 2020. Because several years earlier in the Book of the Fallen, I'd created a group called the Xes, meaning Extermination Level Event. And the Xes want to wipe out humanity, basically wipe out the entire world as we know it, maybe just existence in general. And the Xyz want to wipe out the entire world, and to the point where even other Nefandi are afraid of them, because those other Nefandi kind of like the party and don't want it to end. So one of the tools the Xyz use is pandemics. And one of the instruments they use in spreading pandemics is anti-vaxxers and anti-vax propaganda. And there are actually NPCs in the Book of the Fallen who are anti-vaxxer celebrities. And I wrote this in 2017, and then we get to 2019, 2020. I'm like, fuck, man. No, I didn't say do it for real. So yeah, that would be one of my top 3 moments. And I guess maybe the third one would just be in my original brainstorm for Mage 20. Okay, so originally when I applied for the job for the Mage line developer position, they sent me the manuscript, which at that point was in editing. And they said, "What would you do with this line?" One of the things I said was, there'd be an internet. Obviously the internet is going to be huge. So we've got mages who deal with the internet. There should be a book about the internet. So that would be Digital Web, which I did with Dan Greenberg and why am I blanking on his name? So there should be a book about the internet, which I did. That's Digital Web, which I did with Dan Greenberg and Darren McKeeman. And one of the things that we postulated in there was that the internet is not a connection of wires and tubes and stuff like that, computer connections, that the internet is actually its own level of reality, its own form of existence, and that in a way it's sentient. In a way the internet is not only reality, but the internet is alive. And that the people on the internet feed the reality of the internet with the life energy that they spend typing and the time they spend being online. And holy shit, was that accurate? That was supposed to be satire. And later in Digital Web 2.0, which I did with a number of other folks, the core idea in that one was that once you let normal, unenlightened people, non-mage people, into the digital web, that it was going to fuck things up, and that the mages who created this enlightened space where we could uplift ourselves through the wonders of technology and we would all ascend to a greater state of being, would look at what the internet became once other people got on it and go, holy shit, we did what? And yeah, that would be me. Looking at Digital Web 2.0 and going, yeah, we did that in 1997, 1998. Oh boy. Oops. So yeah, if you have a non-rules question about Mage, drop it in the comments below. I'll see if I can answer it during August when we celebrate 30 years of Mage. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Have a good one. Stay safe. Stay sane. Bye. Hey everybody, Satyr here, and I'm answering more of your questions for 30 years of Mage. What sorts of research goes into or went into creating the Mage groups? Not my honest answer, not a whole hell of a lot. That's kind of flip, but essentially, that's a flip answer, but it's an honest one. Mage was the product of a massive amount of brainstorming in a very short period of time with a group of 20-something suburbanite Americans coming up with a bunch of groups that we could plug into the existing world of darkness. And so while the people who created those groups were drawing from a whole bunch of different research on a whole bunch of different subjects, it was kind of thrown together. And what we did when my crew of collaborators got together in 1993, 1994, that would be Kathy Ryan, Brian Campbell, Bill Bridges, Al going back, Travis Williams, Judith McLaughlin, Sam Chupp. When we got together to figure out how in Mage, what Mage's back history would be, so that all of these different groups, which were presented as a given in the Mage First Edition rulebook, how these groups came together, we began realizing that they didn't fit. And so we created a historical fiction in which we made these different political factions out of cultural conglomerations. And over the course of doing that, we decided that tying it in with real-world history was important, but it was also really important to not do any kind of one-to-one comparison. The Celestial Chorus is the Catholic Church, or the Verbena are the Wiccans. We decided not to do that, and so instead brought together a whole bunch of different influences and then got the people who were working on the various different tradition and convention books to research those groups in the foundational groups in more detail than as much detail as you could do in the pre-Google internet world, pre-social media internet world. And I have a cat who wants to come in. We and the authors of the various different tradition and convention books got together and researched as much as was possible in the very early days of the internet, before Google, before social media, before YouTube, before you could reach out and actually talk to people from the various different cultures. We did as much research as we could, but roughly half of the books in the traditions and convention, at least the first edition tradition and convention books, were written before Amazon.com was a viable source of information, before Wikipedia, before YouTube, and all of these things. So there was a varying amount of research done for various different books, but none of it was particularly thorough. And we were writing these books in a period of weeks. So we did what we could with what we had. One of the things that I love about the internet as it exists now is that you can do a lot more research now than you could do back in 25, 30 years ago. So anyway, that's that one. And so anyway, if you have a non-rules question, please feel free to drop it in the comments below, and I might get a chance to answer it during August when we celebrate 30 years of Mage. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Have a good one. Bye. And on that note, that's all the questions that I have. I'm sure I'll be taking more of them as the month goes on. But in the meantime, I'm going to fucking eat lunch. Thank you all. Thank you again for your support. I appreciate it. And take care. I'll see y'all later. Bye. And leave studio. End session for all. Ah!